Like what?
It's the last day of March, and this is Yesterday in 5 minutes. I'm going to try and get you out of here in less today. Everything we do here is sponsored by Eunomia CBD and Linode.com. If you're not checking the description below for the deals that you can't get anywhere else, you're really missing out. Let's talk about Ghislaine Maxwell. That's cool. I just figured out how to do that. Federal prosecutors in New York filed new charges of sex trafficking a minor and sex trafficking conspiracy against Ghislaine Maxwell, the former associate of Jeffrey Epstein. The new indictment alleges that both Maxwell and Epstein paid this 14-year-old girl for naked massages and sex. This was allegedly happening between 2001 and 2004. This broadens the time period of this case by a lot. Originally, both Maxwell and Epstein were only really being charged with stuff that they did back in the 90s. These new charges also allege that both Epstein and Maxwell wanted this 14-year-old girl to recruit her own friends into this whole sex trafficking ring that they were running. It's fucking disgusting. Maxwell still faces other charges that include transporting a minor for the purposes of criminal sexual activity and conspiring to entice minors to travel to engage in illegal sex acts. Epstein and Maxwell both had connections with so many powerful people, and the public deserves to know which ones are pedophiles and which ones are rapists. And I want to know now. Let's keep it moving. The Derek Chauvin trial is underway. The prosecution is trying to show that excessive force was used in the killing of George Floyd. So far, witnesses seem to be confirming that. I'm going to go ahead and assume that this trial is going to be happening for a while. It took forever for them just to choose the jury. I'm sure by now you've seen the video and have already formed your opinions about it, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it right now. I'm curious to see what new details emerge from this, where this trial is headed, so we'll touch base on it again as it keeps going. Last one. Okay, so people seem to kind of like it when I take controversial stuff and do my best to make sense of it all. Let's take a look at vaccine passports. In January, President Biden issued an executive order directing agencies to assess the possibility of linking coronavirus vaccinations to vaccine cards. According to multiple sources, let's go with Reuters for this one. The Biden administration wants the private sector to figure this out. Their job is to make sure that it's affordable and accessible for everyone. There won't be a federal database for vaccinations or anything like that. At least not what I'm seeing. I keep seeing air travel and concert and sporting venues as the primary place where something like this would get used. This is already common in international air travel. Frequent international travelers might be familiar with vaccine cards, which are typically a yellow paper showing a person's vaccinations. Certain places require proof of vaccinations of things like yellow fever or tuberculosis. Still with me? I have not seen that you will not be able to purchase goods or services or walk into a grocery store without a vaccine passport. I would assume, speculation, not fact, that if retail and grocery stores want to check your vaccine passport at the door and you don't have one, they're probably just going to tell you to put a mask on. I pretty much assume the same thing with concerts and sporting events as well. But I don't know that. It's just what makes the most sense to me. New York is launching the first program of this kind in the nation. But other countries are also working on the same kind of thing. The European Union is trying to boost their summer tourism revenue with the EU Pass. The EU Pass, either digital or on paper, will enable anyone vaccinated against COVID or who has tested negative or recently recovered from the virus to travel across all 27 member states. The EU also wants to include non-EU countries such as Norway, Iceland, and Switzerland. Okay, so my opinion? People really want to get back to normal. People also really want to feel safe. I'm getting vaccinated this week, but I know quite a few people who don't want it for various reasons. The US government is not making this vaccine mandatory. Therefore, it seems impossible to me that you're not going to be able to buy goods or services if you don't get the vaccine. I just wouldn't be surprised if places like gyms or grocery stores or larger venues still ask you to wear a mask, at least for now. As with just about everything under the sun these days, there is a lot of disinformation out there floating around about this. After a pretty lengthy search on this, I don't really see anything too invasive going on here. Overall, I think that the biggest hurdle that they're going to have to overcome with this whole passport idea is privacy. Like if the passport's on my phone, what's going to stop somebody from stealing that information? Other than that, don't want a vaccine? Don't get one. I would strongly urge you to talk to your doctor about it, though, if you haven't already. Some states are toying with the idea of mandatory vaccinations, but it seems unlikely. Some schools, like Rutgers University, are requiring both students and staff to get vaccinated, along with some companies who are requiring vaccinations to work there. So this is definitely something that we should all be paying attention to. But I urge you to try and keep an eye on reputable sources and not your cousin's friend's Facebook page that probably share nothing but weaponized disinformation from Russia and China. More on that tomorrow. That's it for the first month of Yesterday in 5 Minutes. My name is Taylor Cooper. If you like this video, please make sure you like it down here and share it with your friends. Also, make sure you go download the NBN Network mobile app. It's free, it's new, and it is awesome. We've got an all-new episode of Might Be Sports out today with Kevin Reevy and myself, so make sure you go check that out. Click here to subscribe, click here to check out more episodes of this show, and here's a podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.